please welcome Jorge from White Shark Media. If you can introduce a little bit more and speak to who you are, what you do, White Shark.
Sure, thank you, Alex. Hi, everyone. My name is Jorge. I'm a digital marketing manager here at White Shark Media. I have been managing campaigns for the last 5 years from search, YouTube, demand gen, and PMS. My current area of expertise is lead generation for home services accounts. So today I'll be presenting a case study for a home improvement contractor based out of Massachusetts. So let's go to the case study. That's okay, Alex. Okay. So the name of the client is United Home Experts. They're based in Massachusetts, but they're serving the New England territory, which includes Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and Southern Maine. When we took over this client, they came in with three main challenges. The first challenge was a very high CPC. It was a very expensive average CPC at the account level. This was due to the increased auction price and the nature of the construction industry, which tends to be very competitive and at high cost. So that was the first challenge. The second challenge, similar to the average CPC, it was the cost per lead at the account level, because obviously when you have like a high average CPC, this is gonna reduce the cost per click. This is gonna reduce the traffic acquisition because you're paying more for every click. This was also hindering the performance of the leads. So that was above their cost per lead target, and that was indicating the ads not being profitable. That was the second challenge. And lastly, there was some areas of opportunity with the traffic quality. Traffic needed some refinement, and some of the main issues that we noticed is that because this client does the main service for this client, it's doors and windows replacement, so they carry some of the top brands. So we started noticing that a good portion of the traffic from the search term report was for some of these brands, but these were users looking to buy supplies or the replacements rather than looking to hire a contractor to take on the project. So that was something that was driving low quality traffic, plus a few other brands that were not carried by the contractor. So those were the main three issues: the average CPC, cost per lead, and a mixed bag on the traffic quality that needed some refinement. So what was our approach? Firstly, what we did was that we reviewed the keyword strategy. At the time, most of our keywords were phrase inexact. We noticed that because we're using these keywords are the most specific and tighter match types. So Google was obviously putting us into very high cost auctions, and it was limiting the overall traffic acquisition. So what we did to tackle this was we migrated our phrase inexact match campaigns to broad match, just to help us cast a wider net and try to acquire higher traffic quality. To make the best out of the broad match strategy, we combined the broad match keywords with smart bidding, just to enhance the intent and the quality of the traffic. Over time, we started to see a higher conversion rate, and this was a result of the account started to benefit from broad match signals. So it started to identify what were the ideal segments in terms of demographics, locations, and time frames. So that was the first thing we did to tackle the average cost per click issue. Now that we are targeting broad match not only targets phrase inexact match queries, but it just goes broader to try to find other queries that would not be matched by a phrase exact. So it just allows us to target a more qualified and broader audience. So that allows us over time to decrease the average CPC. Once we had fixed or partially fixed that issue, we started to find additional strategy to expand reach and just try to, get more traffic. So what we did was we implemented a PMAX campaign. So the first campaign, it was phrasing exact. We migrated that to broad match, but we just needed to find a complementary strategy to drive more traffic and lead opportunities. So we implemented PMAX campaign, and on this PMAX campaign, we targeted all of the services we were targeting in the search campaign, but this time with the goal of just taking advantage of the retargeting feature within PMAX, targeting a broader audience, and also supporting a more omni-channel approach. So right now, we have like the broad match strategy along with the PMAX. As most of you know, this is now called the power pair. So with those two, we have already tackled two of the issues: working on continuously decrease the average CPC, finding ways to decrease the cost per lead, which we achieve by just maximizing the traffic, since now we have a lower cost per click, and by targeting the PMAX while taking advantage of the remarketing feature and just having a more omni-channel presence. Those two changes allow us to target the first two challenges. Lastly, regarding the traffic quality, as I said, it was a mixed bag because our keywords were matching to some brands that they were not carried by the contractor, and some queries with an intention to buy the supplies or the replacement rather than hiring a contractor. So what we did to minimize that issue was we implemented brand inclusion, which is a very new feature from Google Ads. What this helped us do was to only appear for those queries, for those brand queries that our contractor is carrying. So that allowed us to narrow the audience that we were targeting. And once we started to see improvement in the traffic quality and just started to see that if people were searching for the brand, whether this was because they needed supplies or actually they wanted to have someone to install their doors or windows, once we started to see that, we started to work on how to separate users searching to buy the supplies rather than just hire a contractor. So brand inclusion allow us to narrow down that audience to just now focus on those brands we carry, and then we work with the client on a landing page to make it very clear that this is a home improvement contractor, that we don't sell supplies or the parts, and that if a user was landing on the landing page, then it was very clear that this was a contractor business. So brand inclusion plus a dedicated landing page specifying what is it that the client does allow us to increase the conversion rate by 43%, and this was reflected also on the quality of the leads and quality of the calls that the client was getting. So just as a recap, three main things we did: we migrated our phrase and exact match keywords to broad match. We also paired this with smart bidding. Then we implemented PMAX to have this power pair strategy and make sure that we are fully covering all Google placements and maximizing exposure and reach. And finally, to improve the traffic quality, whenever you have brands that you carry, whether this is for e-commerce or brands that your client represents, you can always do brand inclusion, and this is just gonna help you narrow down to those brands. And if there's some type of overlap, like the one that we had where there are users searching for the supplies rather than the contractor, you can always work with a landing page that it makes it very clear that it's a service and not a retailer selling for the parts of replacement. So those three things help us see an increase in conversions by 53%. We also had a 27% decrease in average CPC. And because now the traffic quality is way better, we also see a 13% increase in conversion rate.
That's amazing story. Thank you, Jorge. And if you can join the round of emojis here for our amazing digital marketing manager, Jorge from White Shark Media.